Oh, yeah, we're going through the weekend. Can't wait for the weekend. Should be nice. Is it nice in Philadelphia sports right now? We're in the biggest lull possible. This is such a lull. I don't know if I've ever had a spring or coming into spring with this kind of a lull. The Super Bowl buzz is kind of over. The Phillies we haven't paid attention to at all through spring training. The Flyers are probably not going to make the playoffs, and we are suffering through one of the most dreadful Sixer seasons ever. Other than that, it's a great sports town. Woo-hoo-hoo! Sports in Philly. Let's get on it.
The Adoree Jackson and Harrison Bryant signing didn't move the needle for you?
I was going to get to that in a second, so let's get to it. It's Bill Colarulo. We got Ray Dunn here. My name is Mike Missanelli. It's the Mike Missanelli Show on 97.5 The Fanatic. All right, so far the Eagles have they make a signing of Adoree Jackson to give cornerback depth. Now, I don't know if he's a starter. He probably isn't. They'll probably go with Keeley over him, but they'll have an experienced guy who can come in there, right? That was it. So what else have they done in free agency? They haven't really done much at all. So here's the question that I need to ask Eagle fans. How do you perceive this right now? Do you perceive, because here's the backdrop. Howie Roseman said, well, you know what? You got to be patient because this free agency is not going to, it's not going to be ended with what we do in free agency. It's a long haul, blah, 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 blah. Frankly, they really haven't done anything in free agency here, and they traded a really good player. So the question for fans are you being patient? Are you mollified by the success of a Super Bowl and still drunk with that success? Or are you of the opinion that, maybe what they're doing isn't good enough to contend or to repeat for next year? So we'll go to you, Mr. Football, Mr. Touchdown USA, Bill Colarulo. What do you think, Billy?
Well, what I think is that there's a salary cap in the NFL. And for many years, and I was guilty of this as well, I always looked at the salary cap and said, well, it exists for all 31 other teams, but not the Philadelphia Eagles because Howie Roseman knows how to get around the cap. Well, that's true to an extent, and I think what you're seeing this offseason is that the salary cap is real for everybody, even Howie Roseman, and they have to make some tough decisions, financial decisions, knowing not only what their cap situation is this year, but knowing what the young players are going to need over the next couple of seasons when it comes to big contract extensions. So I think Howie's doing what he can do. I don't think that Howie Roseman is complacent and saying, you know what, this is going to be a step-back year. I think he's trying to build a roster that can still compete, and I think they will. They have a ton of money tied up on the offense, but he's taken flyers on former first-round picks. We've seen this before. Howie loves to go try to find these low-risk, high-reward deals from former first-round talents that maybe didn't pan out with the team that they were with. You give them a one-year contract. It's a prove-it deal. It's good for everybody because if they come here and it doesn't work out, it doesn't cost the Eagles anything. But if they come here and they perform, not only does it help the Eagles, it helps these guys get these big paydays. You're seeing it with Mekhi Becton. Now, he hasn't been paid yet, but that was a high first-round pick, was a bust in New York, comes here, has a good season. Zach Baum was a third-round pick, comes here on a one-year prove-it deal. Look what he was able to do. But it doesn't always work out. But they signed A.J. Dillon, former second-rounder. Josh Uche, former second-rounder. Kenyon Green in the CJ-GJ trade, former first-rounder. Adoree Jackson, former first-rounder. So they're taking these flyers on these guys. You're not going to hit on all of them, but if you can hit on one or two, maybe that can help a team that's already talented.
You sound really soft, Bill. You sound really soft right now.
What?
Taking flyers, is that good enough? Taking flyers for a Super Bowl team that thinks they can repeat. I look at them right now. I don't know if they can repeat. I got to be honest with you. I don't know. Even though the odds, I'm just ranking looking at the odds for next year. The Eagles still are the top. Are they the top for Super Bowl odds?
Still the top
plus
dog.
650, the top dog, a little bit over the Ravens. I'm not so sure I agree with that at this point.
And it hasn't changed. I mean, that's the interesting thing. With all the flurry of activity with free agents going all different places and the Eagles losing these guys, the odds at the top of the board have not changed. The Eagles are still a plus 650, if I'm not mistaken, to win it all, with the Ravens right behind them. The Lions, their odds improved a little bit. I think the Commanders' odds improved a little bit, but nothing to the point where they've overtaken the Eagles as the favorites, which I think is a good sign. Vegas knows what they're doing.
I'm glad you're optimistic, Bill. Listen. I hate to feel this way, but I fear a drop off. I fear a drop off going into next year. I don't know what it is. I fear a drop off for the baseball season, and I fear a drop off when football starts next fall.
Well, look,
I don't know why.
I think that it's fair to expect a drop off. This is a team that won 18 games last year, if I'm not mistaken, right? They won 14 regular season games, and then they won all 4 of their playoff games. I think they could have a drop-off. There could be a slight step back in terms of the amount of wins that they have or how much they dominate teams, and they could still be a Super Bowl champion next year. Like, they dominated. Mike, I've done this research before where I asked the question, is this the best Super Bowl team in modern history? What they did on their path to this Super Bowl victory. You don't have to be that dominant to win a Super Bowl. We've seen other teams do it. So even if the Eagles have a step back, they're still going to be a contender. I'm a contender.
Things go wrong, or as we like to say, TGW in the NFL. Injuries happen, little things that you can't control. You're coming off a Super Bowl win. There's a reason why very few teams repeat. I don't know. So the question I have for Eagle fans here is, are you being patient? Are you being a little softer because you've been mollified by the success of a Super Bowl championship? Or are you of the mindset that, this offseason so far, not good enough? Not good enough to keep up with the Joneses?
Keeping up with the Joneses. Well, here's the thing. Like, I have been critical of Howie Roseman in the past. He's done a great job. I say it all the time. I'd give him a lifetime contract. But when it's time to be critical of him, I've been critical. When I think he's making moves that I don't agree with, I'm critical of him. As much as I don't love the fact that you lost Milton Williams and you lost Josh Sweat and you traded away Chauncey Gardner-Johnson and you haven't been able to spend big, I'm not sure what else he could have done in this first wave of free agency just yet. He signed Zach Bond, which we all agreed was the priority. Didn't necessarily have to extend Saquon Barkley, but he did, and it ensures that he's now here for a couple more seasons because I think this could have been the last year of that deal with that kind of dummy third year that they put in. I don't know what else he could have done. Like, we've been critical of Daryl Morey, rightfully so, because all the moves he made were wrong, but he had the ability to make moves. They had cap space, they had draft capital, and they made the wrong moves. Could Howie Roseman have done anything else in this first week of free agency, really? I mean, I guess they could have held on to Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, but I understand why they're moving on.
Listen, I'm not the general manager, all right? The general manager is responsible. This is what they did. They got Kenyon Green in the trade. He might not be a starter. They got Uche in the trade. He's definitely not going to be a starter. They got Dory Jackson. He's not going to be a starter. A.J. Dillon, not going to be a starter. And they got a backup to the backup quarterback. Really, Bill?
Well, they're going to wait for that next wave. Look,
next wave.
Some of the best moves that he's made don't always come in this first week. We got spoiled a little bit last year because they signed Bryce Huff, Saquon Barkley, Zach Bond, all in that first day.
But we're saying right now, Bill, the offseason, has the offseason not been good enough? Right now.
Right now, it leaves a little bit to be desired.
Okay.
I will give you that. The Harrison Bryants of the world aren't moving the needle, especially when the rumors are that Dallas Goedert's on his way out. I'm not going to feel comfortable with Grant Calcaterra and Harrison Bryant next year.
They're going to draft a kid from Bowling Green. I feel it. 610-632-0975. Also today, I do this every now and then. Take inventory of the most exciting or satisfying players in Philadelphia sports right now. It'd be interesting to see how this list ranks right now.
Any Sixers on the list? I don't know.
There's a Sixer at the bottom of the list who should be higher. 610-632-0975. Mike Missanelli Show continues. 97.5 The Fanatic.
Hey, everybody, it's Bill Colarulo. Thanks for watching. We appreciate it. Make sure you like and subscribe to our channel so you can engage during the show, and you're not going to want to miss all the content that we post. It's not only the live videos. It's videos after the fact. It's our shorts. It's all the content you want as a Philadelphia sports